It's interesting for me to hear that sports was in your family, because your dad was a boxing champion, wasn't he?
Well, all I know of him, he was killed on the Somme 16. I was born in 15. And all I know is the cuttings, where he was boxing champion of the army, and he performed before the King and Queen at gymnasts. So that's, that's the only thing I know about him.
And you grew up as a lad wanting to do sports, not just rugby, but different sports.
I like, oh yes, any sport was going, I like playing.
Yeah. And when did you start playing rugby?
Edgewick School 10.
And playing against bigger lads eventually, weren't you?
Oh, well, in those days, even junior schools that are now used to run 2 teams, first team and second team. And we used to play other schools. And at 10, I played centre 3/4 for Edgewick second team.
Now I hear that at quite a young age you started up an old boys team, didn't you?
Oh yeah, first year we left school. We left school at 14.
Which school was that?
John Golson. August 29, and the headmaster and Bill Goddard at Spudman, they were initiated an old boys team, and I didn't offer, but they nominated me as bloody secretary. And but it was a bit difficult because we were a central advanced school, and all our class really was scattered all over Blooming Coventry. They weren't just in the school attachment, and but we had a good team, very, very good team.
Yeah. So I go back a little bit, because you'd won a scholarship as a young boy, hadn't you?
Well, what happened in those days, there used to be the 11 plus exam, I suppose, and in those days I think there was only about 5 for the grammar schools, and then the Coventry Education Committee, they started central advanced classes, like 3 years for the people who hadn't qualified but useful. I think the only difference, I don't know, we might have done more in mathematics, but we took French for 3 years as well. But we still left at 14.
And you won a scholarship, but you couldn't take that up because
Oh,
you had
no.
to stay at home, didn't you,
Oh, no.
and look after the family.
Yeah. Well, we weren't a rich family, and he was a stepfather, so things weren't perfect. Yeah.
Would you describe that as, was that a hard upbringing, would you say?
Well, no, well, it was, it's right for the times.
That's how
That's all
things
you can
were
say.
then. That's how things were then.
Yeah, I mean, it's right for the time. You just, you did the bloody dollying, you did the grocery, fetch the bloody groceries, looked after the babies, did the ironing. So it was, we didn't know any different. It was right for the times.
But you've had time to develop rugby as your
Oh,
sport.
well, yeah, well,
Where did you play? Whereabouts did you play then? What pitches around Coventry did you play on?
we played over Stoke, Fowswell Park, Broad Street played on Fowswell Park. We played, Swan Street played where the reservoir is now. John Golson played on the opposite the JFC ground, it's the Babbitt ground now. Stoke played on the bloody farm ground, bloody miles away. We used to we'll walk there Saturday that morning, kick off at 10, and then walk all the way back.